Hello my friends, my name is Artur Rehi and I am an Estonian YouTuber. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have reached our final chapter in D-Day. We are researching, yes, that's what we call on this channel, watching videos about history. We're researching D-Day and we have watched the English perspective, the French perspective, the baguette. We have watched also the American perspective and now we're gonna watch the Nazi perspective. Ooh. I have my tea, I have my flag, I'm ready for this. Ooh, it's hot. Last time I asked you if you want me to play Call of Duty 1, the very first Call of Duty that came out. It was the game of my childhood. I loved it so much, and all of you, literally all of the comments were yes, play it, we want to see it. Sometime in the next week I'm trying to get the game and play through it. One gameplay a week at least. So exciting things are coming. And also, last 5 days I was mobilized to the army. Back to the army. 2,500 men from Estonia were mobilized immediately, just like that. They all got the letter, you have to come right now, immediately. So I went, we did training, we did exercises. I will make a separate video on it for Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. Tonight I'm driving a Mercedes. Yeah, brother. But now let's see what the Nazis did in D-Day.
1944 is a day that Field Marshal Erwin Rommel has been looking forward to for a long time. His wife's birthday. With bad weather making an invasion impossible, and intelligence suggesting that Eisenhower's waiting for more troops, the commander of Normandy's defenses has decided to go home and surprise his wife with a pair of Parisian shoes. In the middle of the night, his phone rings. The invasion's begun.
Oh! At your wife's birthday! Come on, Allied forces. You could have timed it better. Erwin Rommel has a wife's birthday. As a man, you cannot skip that. Just push the invasion one day so he can celebrate with his wife.
The Nazi leadership had begun preparing for D-Day even before the Allies held their conference at Tehran. Following a British commando raid at Saint-Nazaire and the landings at Dieppe in 1942, Hitler had realized that even if an invasion lay years off, the Allies were already capable of hitting ports in occupied France. His solution was the Atlantic Wall, a line of coastal defenses that originally clustered around ports but eventually stretched from the Spanish border to Norway. Rather than building a continuous defense...
Look at this, this is 1,000 kilometers of metal and mines and wood. It seems like it's just those metal anti-tank constructions and mines, but it takes hell a lot of time to install them. And 1,000 kilometers of installing them takes forever, literally. So yeah, they did a lot of work here.
Defensive barrier, German engineers drafted 1 million forced laborers from France to create a string of machine gun and artillery positions. These hardpoints had overlapping fields of fire, with artillery intended to fire along the length of the beach rather than out to sea. This allowed the German army to cover a larger amount of territory with fewer men, a consideration that was crucially important by 1944. In late 1943, Hitler had appointed Rommel as overall commander of forces in northern France. It was a political as well as practical appointment.
Okay, I like about extra credits. They're so family friendly. Even, okay, we're talking about Adolf Hitler and the Nazis here. I'm very curious if I get demonetized because look how happy he is. This is happy Hitler, really. This is the most family friendly portrait of Hitler I've ever seen. So maybe we won't get demonetized. Let me know if you see commercials or ads on this video. That means if I get paid or not.
Leveraging Germany's most famous general in order to reassure the troops and the public. Rommel also had a personal relationship with Hitler, which allowed him to operate semi-autonomously outside the chain of command. When Rommel arrived, he was shocked at the state of the Atlantic Wall. Command had stripped troops for the Eastern Front, and many of the men were either new recruits, conscripts from Eastern Europe, or had gone soft garrisoning the wine-soaked towns of France. Allied bombing had nullified the Luftwaffe. Rommel went to work. He sent veteran units to supplement the poorly trained divisions. He seeded the ground around the defensive emplacements with mines that jumped into the air before exploding. At low tide, he sank a forest of wooden stakes tipped with anti-tank mines that sat just below the waves. Now, any invader would have to choose between running the gauntlet at high tide or landing at low tide and crossing 300 yards of open beach. He also flooded the low country, erected poles to tear apart gliders, and stationed troops inland to slow the Allied advance.
Whoa, look at this. I don't understand. In any of the movies or any of the depictions or videos, I haven't seen those mines in action. I haven't seen those cages. All I saw was the wire, the anti-tank constructions, the bunkers. I don't know about the wall here, but those mines I've never seen. They would be super effective, but I don't think they had them on Omaha Beach or anywhere else. Otherwise, the men would have just were blown to pieces, you know. Or maybe the ships bombarded the beaches to clear the mines. That's one chance.
In preparation for a counterattack. But planning around that counterattack was a problem. First of all, they didn't know exactly where the Allies would land. Luckily, German intelligence pulled off a coup. They successfully deployed multiple agents in England. Soon, they were receiving reports of armies marshalling to attack Pas-de-Calais, along with diversionary attacks in occupied Norway and... what was the other one? Normandy? Whatever. And aerial reconnaissance confirmed forces massing for these attacks. Of course, every single one of those German agents was actually working for the British. Good work, Garbo. Regardless of where the landings took place, Rommel believed the battle would be decided on the beaches. Should the Allies establish a beachhead, it would be over. In his plan, the divisions defending the coast would slow the enemy down in preparation for a decisive counterattack. As a result, he wanted the Panzer Reserve under his own command, close to the shore in order to sweep the Allies back into the sea. However, Hitler's leadership style started to affect strategy. From his early days in the Nazi Party, Hitler had promoted a kind of social Darwinism among his staff, giving them overlapping responsibilities and intentionally fostering feuds and competition. This meant that subordinates couldn't amass enough power to challenge him, and it elevated his position as the final arbiter of any dispute. In this case, Rommel was opposed by officers, including the elderly Eastern Front veteran von Rundstedt, who wanted the tank reserves held near Paris. This would keep them flexible, in case the Allies landed somewhere unexpected, and shield them from shore bombardment. Rommel countered that the long drive toward the coast would make them vulnerable to air attacks. After fierce debate, they put it to the Führer, who, ever indecisive, created an unworkable compromise. He broke up the reserve, giving Rommel 3 panzer divisions and keeping the larger reserve around Paris as a personal unit, which couldn't be moved without his express permission. Only one of Rommel's divisions, the 21st Panzer, was sent to Normandy.
Whoa.
So the stage is set for June 5th, and the weather could not be uglier. With conditions so poor for both sailing and flying, senior officers relax in the knowledge that the Allies will not arrive anytime soon. Many take the opportunity to rush home on leave, and that is when paratroopers start to land.
Wait, so they did land on the rain. I thought they were waiting for the clear weather and everything. They did. I watched the videos. They did wait for the clear weather, but maybe it was still raining on France, but not in England.
At 5:30 a.m. on June 6th, German soldiers peer out of their bunkers to see shapes in the morning mist, ships stretching from horizon to horizon. Then, aircraft engines. A massive Allied bombardment rocks the ground as bombs, naval shells, and rockets pound French soil. But the bombers drop too far inland. The rockets fall short. Naval guns make little headway against the steel-reinforced bunkers. 1,745 tons of ordnance drop on Omaha Beach without killing a single German. But the roads inland...
Without killing a single one? 1,700 bombs, it's an hour of just... and no one dies. The reinforcements were truly really good.
...are wrecked. Worse, Allied paratrooper and glider units land between the static units and the reserve, with resistance elements destroying crucial bridges and rail lines, meaning that reinforcements and supplies can't get through. Landing craft begin to plunge toward the shore. On Omaha Beach, the Germans see the first Allied soldiers trudging in the surf. Machine guns open fire. Far away, Allied soldiers lie face down, pinned, as the first wave of mortars and artillery shells fling bodies into the air. Months of preparation mean that German artillery crews have ranged out the beaches and know exactly where to drop their ordnance. The initial slaughter is monumentally one-sided. One American company at Omaha takes 92% casualties.
Oh.
By 1:30 that afternoon, German observers at Omaha report that small groups of Americans have broken through, but the defense is holding. They're pushing the Allies back into the sea. But Omaha is the exception. Despite fierce resistance, the British have broken through at Sword and Gold, and the Canadians at Juneau. The botched American landing at Utah has reorganized into a chaotic opportunity. Here, the bombardments have had more effect, and the terrain isn't as challenging, but men still die in droves. The chaos on the beach is mirrored at every German headquarters between Normandy and Hitler's vacation home at Berchtesgaden. Generals argue over whether to commit reserves and where. Rommel is rushing toward the battle in a staff car, unable to issue orders. His rival, von Rundstedt, quickly orders the 21st Panzer to meet the British advancing on Caen, and issues orders for the reserve units near Paris to move out. But his orders are countermanded. That unit can only be moved by the Führer's personal order, and Hitler is asleep. Ever since his days at
Mr. Hitler is sleeping. How can you move his personal tanks? Well, you can't. You have to wake him up. If you wake up Hitler, he's gonna, I don't know what he's gonna do. He's gonna do something bad.
As a Bohemian in Vienna, Hitler has always been a late riser. Rigid procedure dictates that the Führer should not be woken unnecessarily, and even in the face of invasion, no one wants to break this protocol. After all, what if it's only a diversion? When Hitler eventually wakes at noon, he is thrilled the invasion has arrived. This, he says, is his chance to decisively crush the Allies.
He's thrilled. Damn. You got 500,000 men on your soil. Yeah, this is my chance to beat the Allies. Woohoo! No, it's not gonna happen like that.
And yet, he delays. It's 4 p.m. before he orders the Panzer Reserve to move out. By that time, the clouds have cleared, exposing the column to Allied air power. So instead of advancing, the unit ends up hiding in the woods until dusk. It will take them 2 days and a night to join the battle. As the Allies overwhelm German defenses and march inland, Hitler spends his day ordering V-1 revenge strikes not on Normandy but on London, then holds a conference with minor functionaries. When Goebbels shows him the Normandy landings on a map, Hitler exclaims with delight, "Just where we expected them." Goebbels, who has heard Hitler rant for months about how the Allied target would be Calais, simply nods at the Führer's historical revisionism. After all, Hitler is somewhat right, in a way. They all knew that a diversionary landing would happen at Normandy.
Hitler is beginning to be delusional, huh? He's beginning to remember things differently. We learned about it in religious psychology. It's called wishful memory. You will remember what you want to remember.
Probably best to keep the strong units in Calais. Meanwhile, the Atlantic Wall is crumbling. Even at Omaha, the defense has degraded. Ammunition is running out. Artillery emplacements fall silent. Americans begin breaking through and enveloping the casements. At Caen, the Germans see one last opportunity, a gap between the Canadian and British lines. A grenadier regiment rushes to exploit it, and by 8 p.m. radios that they're on the beach. With armored support, they can hold. But the Allies have gotten wise. When the 21st Panzer tries to follow, they find themselves running a gauntlet. Fire pours in from both sides. Every minute, another tank explodes. Seeing that the window of opportunity has closed, their commander orders them to halt and dig in around Caen. But the defense is stiffening. All along the battlefront, Allied units begin failing their first-day objectives of advancing and linking up inland. By dusk, the Allies have scattered beachheads, but not much more. Within days, German reinforcements will arrive, and the hedgerows of Normandy will become a killing field that will dwarf the casualties of the landings. D-Day is over, but Operation Overlord could still fail. To win, the Allies are going to have to push just as hard on D-Day +1, and D-Day +2.
D-Day +1 and D-Day +2. Yeah, I mean, okay, many will die, but I have said it too much. I cannot say it enough. It's nothing compared with the Eastern Front. How many people died on D-Day? How many soldiers died? 10,000, I think. 15,000 altogether. It's not hundreds of thousands. Let me Google that. Casualties of D-Day. 10,000. Let's talk about Stalingrad, or let's talk about the rounding of Moscow. Or let's talk about Kursk. Cannot even compare.
And every day after that. For all of these forces, American, British Commonwealth, French, German, and Soviet, the fight would continue for 11 murderous months. But the Allies now had a beachhead, and in trying to throw them back, Germany would spend more men, fuel, and equipment that they could ill afford. Allied victory is a long way off, but for the first time, it's in sight.
Whoppa wah, that was really cool, yes. That was the last one of the extra credits. I wish they did one more about it, like about Operation Overlord. I wish they did one about Overlord, that would be cool. And also you can play Overlord in Call of Duty 1, which I want to do. I want to download the game and I want to play it. Also, just comment if you also want me to play. Support the channel. I make these cool videos for you Monday, Wednesday and Friday. 3 times a week. And the best way to support is Patreon or PayPal. Both are in the description below. And also, go and get this cool cup. Look at it, Estonian Youtuber Cup. Very cool, very stylish. If you drink tea from it, you're the coolest man alive, the coolest woman alive. Just do it. And as always, my friends, until my next video, stay cool and bye bye.